my mic. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Mzansi Unfiltered, the Puma Silhouette live recording podcast. Today, we are doing the AKA and Utivelo Tibz murder trial reaction. Well, the trial hasn't really started. They're still in the courting stages, and by that I mean they're still in the what is called a pre-trial. And what exactly is a pre-trial? A pre-trial, that just means they're still doing a lot of nganekwanes. Okay, they're still testing the waters, they're still seeing how serious everything is, if there really is a case and a matter that can be heard in front of a court. We know that now. Hello, Mrs. Aisha, good to see you. Thanks for joining in. Drop a 1 if you can hear me loud and clear. That's right. Hello, Puma Puma. You guys are hilarious and I absolutely love it. Listen, with the AKA case, I remember starting to cover this case from the day that he was pew-pewed, okay? The day where, and I actually watched his stories. Like, I didn't watch these stories from other medias. I watched his stories as he was flying down to Cape Town. As he, did I say Cape Town? No, Cape Town is the Anele Tembe situation ship. We'll talk about that later. When he was flying down to KZN Durban. And I actually watched those stories. I remember watching the stories, and then he landed in KZN, and then after he landed in KZN, he went to get his hair done, and then after that they went for dinner or lunch. But then we will hear through the court that what actually happened is he told Ndivelo that, hey, where I'm in Durban, let's meet up. And Ndivelo said, say no more. Little did he know that he was then going to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. May his soul rest in peace. Two friends, one shot by straight bullet, because I believe it is said that Utivelo Tibz actually ran back into the restaurant. One of the accused, and I'm going to be a little bit rusty, so forgive me today. I had to go back and pull up my notes. I actually have a notebook that I kept because I had written the description or the characters of each of the 5 accused, plus the 2 who are the real Mgulukudus here, okay? They are, and that's what the law is. You are innocent until proven guilty. And then after that, you still have additional options. You can appeal and appeal and appeal and don't. Meanwhile, Durban is like, we really need those 2. We really need those 2 to come to the party because we've got to start the AKA and Tibz trial. That time, there are families that are waiting for justice. There's AKA's parents, his mother and father. There's AKA's baby mama, DJ Zinhle. And then there's his daughter, Cairo. And then there's his, I don't know, she's not his girlfriend anymore because when at the time of his passing, they were not married. So at the time of his passing, Nadia Nakai was his girlfriend. It's a lot, okay, Guningi. This case has a lot of celebrity names, okay, the who's. And then on the sideline, there's the Anele Tembe family and supporters who are being watched, with the side eye, like, did they really call the hit on AKA? Unfortunately, there is also Ndivelo Tibz family. Ndivelo used to be AKA's manager, and then he just did a whole career change and then became a chef. And he was doing very, very well for himself. And he was in Durban for separate reasons, nothing to do with AKA, but because of that common thread, okay, golden thread. The friends sat down, they broke bread and had their last supper together. And ladies and gentlemen, that was the end of both lives. 2 young men. And then the question becomes, what was the motive? What do we know so far? So like I said, it's the pre-trial. What's the pre-trial? Where they are doing the preliminaries. One of the most important things in the pre-trial is for the lawyers to say, yes, there's money in the bag. I have been paid, or the arrangements for my payment have been secured, or legal aid has confirmed that I'm going to be paid, so that down the road, during the case, nobody comes up and the case has to adjourn because A, B, C, and D didn't get paid. So that is some of the stuff that, so it's kind of like a written contract that, yes, I confirm I am paid, everything is good. So you can't kind of default later on. We see that in the Senzo Meyiwa trial, where some will argue that advocate Ngomezulu did not have a contract with legal aid, therefore legal aid did not have an obligation to pay him. But as a state, they should have seen that he's doing the work and should have still written him that check. But it is what it is. The legal aid said, nope, not today. We are not paying for this. We have budgets and rules and dun-dunnies and sections that we've got to follow. And then jiggy, Gomez, conveniently for them, in my opinion, Ngomezulu passes away. And then next thing, boom, legal aid is inside Pagati, the courtroom, talking about, we're ready to pay. Okay, we are ready to pick up the tab. Tell your uncle we've got it from here on. Now back to the AKA trial. So that's the importance of all the representatives standing up and saying, hello, we've got the money. We are good to go because, as the saying says, money makes the world go round. Now, let's go over to Eswatini Kingdom. There's two Mgulukudus, okay? And I'm saying that with my chest. Two Mgulukudus who somehow, somewhere went to Eswatini, not through border crossing points, or should I say there's no border crossing point that actually acknowledges that they crossed over. And this is where you see human rights in full play, okay, full display. They rented a house in this particular neighborhood and they were always partying. Okay, these people did not go to work. They partied for the party, according to the neighbors. Okay, first of all, imagine that someone suddenly moves into your street. You've never seen them. They're definitely not Swati people. Okay, something is not make sure about them and they are suddenly here. But not only do they move in, but they move in and they have a good time all the time. Okay, and then suddenly jiggy police come, they take them, and they have been in prison ever since. Of course, per usual standard, they did do the bail application, which was denied. Like, you've got to be kidding me. Who's going to give you bail? How will we know you will show up for the rest of your court appearances because you're not even in here legally? Okay. And then now we have the whole entire media. We're just, Eswatini, we've got our own little tiny little kingdom. And now the entire world, all eyes are on us. And it's got to do with AKA. How did we find out about the Ndimande brothers? Well, somebody over there. Well, let me take a few steps back. And drop a 1 and let me know if you guys have been following this case. I see your comments. I'm going to read them shortly. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming over. We're talking a little bit of a different case today, but I think it's also another landmark case. I think it's a case that's going to draw a lot of attention because of who AKA was, not necessarily for his music, but because of who his fiance was, who his fiance's father is, and the location of his death. There's too much not to make sure there. I'm not saying the Tibz had anything to do with this. I'm just saying, hey, when Anele Tembe dropped, according to AKA, who was there, he says, I don't know what happened. We were fighting, and then all of a sudden, jiggy, she dropped to the floor. And then you didn't go downstairs. You didn't go downstairs and check on the love of your life. I'm looking at you sideways. This is an interesting case because there are many different factions. I've introduced it already. So there's people who are Team Anele Tembe, okay, who feel that Anele has been avenged because AKA didn't die a compensated death, okay? He dropped down dead instantly. Now, there was a leaked video of how that happened. We got to see it. As I was telling you, I was watching his stories myself. Personally, I did follow AKA. So I was watching his stories, and that is a lesson to not everything needs to be on Beyonce's internet when you are traveling. dropping your location. Here I am. I am eating this at the Wish restaurant. What are them Gulugudus doing? Taking notes. Oh, you caught the plane? Okay, I see you. I'll be right there, okay? Over there at the Shagantunton airport, I will be right there. And guess what? The state is alleging, okay? The state is alleging Mgulukudu over there who got the 800,000 rands in his bank account from the Gwabini brothers. Oh, no, one of the Gwabini brothers. What's his name again? No, did I say Gwabini? See, I'm confusing cases. Agaba, from the Gaba brothers. Sydney Gaba, okay? Sydney Gaba said, no, this is just a consultation. There's nothing unkosher about my relationship and this money transaction, even though it's a once-off, even though the bank statement is missing that page. Don't worry about it. So it's not important. I'm going to run and issue a statement. There are so many lessons in the AKA case. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed and you're asking yourself, hello, my goodness, why can I not comment? This is where I catch you out, okay? This is where I catch you out if you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel here on Mzansi Unfiltered, during our lives, you must be a subscriber to join the conversation. So don't forget to hit that subscription button, hit that notification, and you also can support the channel financially so that I can do things like this, come live, have equipment, and we talk real time, okay? And I know you guys love the real time. I've been getting a lot of messages from people this week saying, welcome back. And I've been pausing at each one of them. And I've been judging you. And I've been taking note, like, what do you mean, welcome back? What do you mean? I've been here. But then I said, you know what? It's only fair that I recognize some people follow certain stories. So this is me saying to you, welcome back to Mzansi Unfiltered. Today, we are talking the AKA case. Don't log off. Don't swipe to the next video. Stay with us because you want to pay attention to this trial. A couple of things. I actually do have AKA's book. Oh, there, did you see that? I digressed. We'll talk about the book in a second. I was still telling you about the lessons from the AKA trial. People who out here using Beyonce's internet and posting their live activity. So AKA was on his way to Durban on that fateful day. I believe it was the 10th of February. He was on his way to Durban to celebrate his birthday. It was a birthday celebration, but not only that, he was going to be, I think, either launching or he was also going to be playing at another location. Let me tell you something. So he posted, going to the airport. What are them Gulugudus doing? Getting ready to go wait for him, okay? One thing about a plane, it will take off and it will land. And one thing about a plane, it also has a flight number. Okay, so you're not just staring at that board at the airport. What is it called? Arrivals board. You're not just waiting and guessing. The flight has a flight number. And if you're out there being AKA, being just so open and transparent and thinking the world absolutely loves you, there's a thing called the watching eye. Let's not digress into that. Then, you know, the Mgulukudus are like, yes, he boarded the flight, and then they landed, and then the state will say during the trial that they saw Mgulukudu, accused number 5, I think he's accused number 4. They saw Mgulukudu, accused number 4, driving behind the accused. I'm sorry, behind the deceased, AKA. And the state will say they saw him. And what did he say in his bail application? He said, you have got to be kidding me, okay? I was not there. You have to know something as well. I am a happily married man, okay? My wife could be driving my car, but you could be saying it's me, but it's not me. And the state said, you want to bet? You want to bet? I'm going to tell you something. Video places you at the scene right there at the airport. So sometimes it's a good thing to remain silent, especially if not all the cards are right in front of you, so that you don't look like a lying Mgulukudu. So of course he was denied bail. After that, AKA then posted, going to the hotel. Mgulukudu follows AKA to the hotel. going to cut my hair. All this was all on AKA's stories, guys. And then from there, it was going to and then they went to the restaurant, and you see them all there having the Last Supper. I believe the state is going to play one of those videos where you see Mgulukudu, accused number 5, who says he was inside Pagati Wish restaurant on a blind date, sir. And he was stood up. And then when the pew pew sounds went off, he didn't move. He had zero curiosity because he was waiting for his blind date. And how was the state able to place accused number 5 at the Wish restaurant? He opened a bank account that morning that he used inside Wish restaurant. Let me tell you guys, if you don't know, receipts are receipts, and they will find you. I mean, well, if it is a good investigating team and they do the investigations and don't, 1 + 1 becomes 2, and then you're finding yourself in a sticky situation later on down the line. He says, please, my lord, I am applying for bail. My family is suffering. I'm the sole breadwinner. No one is driving my vehicles. There's no money coming in. The vehicle was found abandoned, and the state said, don't play games with us, okay? Don't play games with us. Bail denied. If there's one thing consistent in that case, is the denying of bail. Let me just take a break and go through your comments. Imelda is inside Pagati, and I love it, guys, when we're here. Listen, I was going through my notebooks. I have so many, and I have a specific one for the AKA trial, but in that one I also had written some notes, and then I got digressed and got lost because I had some notes on Ngomezulu, and I was like, man, Ngomezulu was a funny guy. You know, I started reading some of those notes, and it was like, shout out to Ngomezulu, man. May his soul rest in peace. And then I found my notes on the AKA because I had drawn, I had written a mind map because I wanted to know, you know, when you start these trials, you don't have a side that you're taking. You want to understand, has the state got it right or not? And at that time, okay, Nkwananzi, we're judging you, okay, had come out and said the arrests that have been made, no, the arrests in Eswatini have nothing to do with the AKA case. And then the reporter over there in Eswatini said, you know what? Swatini Kingdom is such a quiet place. I just feel like breaking this. And he hit the Twitter button and he posted everything online. And Konanzi had to come with his tail between his legs and say, well, and so again, there's lessons in there, even for the police, even for the investigating officers. But fortunately or unfortunately, it didn't blow the case. The 2 accused in Eswatini are really playing cat and mouse, okay, with South Africa. And they're like, oh my goodness, we feel so unsafe going back to our country of birth. There is no way. We're going to need police escort because, oh no, we will be under such sirs. Those brothers for me is like, what are you doing? But hey, they're innocent until proven guilty. Today, their case was heard or decided by the Supreme Court over there, and we'll talk about that later. Whew, can you see? There's just so many pieces to this story. So many moving pieces. I haven't even touched on what happened today. And then we have Lerato saying, hello, my love. Hi, Lerato. Love you more. Mrs. Aisha can hear me loud and clear. Ooh, Blanche. Wonderful. This is a new name for me. Why? Because we have Advocate Swanepoel in the, in the Jocelyn Smith trial, which returns tomorrow. And I have good news for you. Okay, I have decided that I will go live after the case tomorrow, because I've never gone live for the Jocelyn Smith trial. So drop a 2 if you will be joining me on that live, just to digress, okay, and debrief what goes on. So I'm not saying she's the advocate. I'm just saying I'm recognizing her last name, and I am welcoming you because, Swanepoel is a name close to us here on this channel. Then we have Mabuya saying, greetings, greetings, shout out to you. Then we have Dorcas, our channel member. Hello, Dorcas. Good to have you here. And thank you for supporting the channel. Absolutely love it when you guys are supporting the channel as members. Hello, my Mzansi Unfiltered family inside Parati in your like. Thank you for that reminder. This is a good time for me to ask you, have you gone ahead and liked this video? Nadia Nakai, yes, Nadia Nakai, AKA's girlfriend at the time of his passing. She went through a difficult grieving time, but it looks like she's back on her feet, performing, traveling, and. Dan is here as well. Good day, everyone. Dan is one of our moderators, making sure just in case Mgulukudu slides into the comments. Oh, look at that. Dan and Tidi are both here. So Dan and Tidi are channel moderators. Thank you for the work that you do. I love our comment section. You know, Mgulukudus don't really come live. The Mgulukudus don't read. They're not the kind of people. They're the kind of people who sit in the dark, I imagine. Okay, and then they type away their long paragraphs, vile trolls, but they don't come live. I've barely had a troll in my life because they struggle with that one step they must take, which is hit that subscribe button. It's so lethal to them. They just cannot subscribe. So they wait for the next video upload and then they do their vileness over there. And it's okay. So we have our moderators who I appreciate, and you know, they're here to remind us to just make sure everything is working out nice inside our home. And just in case Mgulukudu decides to slip in, they are right there to zap them right out. Okay. Dorcas says hello to Tidi. We have the letters of your last name. Let me look at the screen over here. Zibuyisile Gilija. Oh, and then when I saw the JA, I was like, oh, wait, is that Mjiago? The letters, many of your letters are going towards Mjiago, and I was like, But that's on me because sometimes I read too fast. Good evening. Love it for us. We only have 16 likes. My heart is hurt. Yes, Mgulukudu number 4. Yes, Mgulukudu number 4. He's the one who got the money and said, don't ask me about this money and don't ask me about the statement either. Let me give him a hint in advance, okay? If you haven't watched the Jocelyn Smith trial, it is never a good idea to not answer when there is something to be answered. Provide the state with that statement and show that payment, okay? And then from there, you will definitely thank me later. George is here and says, evening, Mzansi family. Hello. Okay, so I'm all caught up. So I have the Jocelyn. What am I saying? I have the AKA. See, I got confused on cases there. I have the AKA. I'm distracted by an article that just came in. I have the AKA and Anele Tembe book that was written by Melinda Ferguson, controversial that is, and the book is titled When Love Kills, the tragic tale of AKA and Anele Tembe. Let me know if you guys want me to do some lives and read from this book. And you know what, and this book, let me tell you something, this book is a mere 319 pages. 319 pages. Have I finished reading the book, you wonder? No. When did I buy the book? Funny enough, one of my bookmarks is actually the receipt. Shout out to Books and Things. I bought this book on the 29th of April last year. Have I finished reading the book? No. And yet some of us have expectations for Advocate Mnisi to have finished reading 60,000 pages. Like 60,000 pages. That's like how many of these books? You know what? Maybe we should calculate it. What did we say? Should have a calculator here. Here we go. How many pages is it? Wait. Okay. 60,000 pages is what Advocate Mnisi read. If I use this book as a standard, there's 319 pages divided by 319 pages. Let me not embarrass myself with math. It's like Advocate Mnisi had to read 188 copies. Oof! 188 copies of this book. And then after that, he has to consult with Umusi. And then after that, he has to analyze. And then after that, he has to create his defense. Guningi, right? You guys are picking it up. It is a lot. So let me know if you guys want us to do some lives. I got to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. And then we get that intrusion. Intruders calling my phone. Ooh. Have you ever had those people who phone your phone and then you don't answer, and then they decide they have the right to phone your phone again? I can't stand those people, because it's like, if I didn't answer your phone the first time, guess what's going to happen the second time? I'm still not going to answer your phone, okay? You have the right to remain silent when I don't answer your phone. Yeah, so let me know if you guys want me to do some series on the book. I think it's a well-written book. I enjoyed the book. There's a lot of interesting things that are done in the book. Chapter 1, aka meets Anele Tembe. From a romantic perspective, in many ways, Keenan Forbes, otherwise known as aka, and Anele Tembe, sometimes known as Nelly, were two star-crossed Shakespearean lovers, an ill-fated modern-day Romeo and Juliet. We all adore a great love story, which is why almost 500 years after Will penned his playset in Verona, Romeo and Juliet is still prescribed reading for high school students across the globe. No less than 38 movies have been made of Shakespeare's play, detailing one of literature's greatest romantic tragedies, the love story of AKA and Anele, peppered by the makeups and breakups the lovers posted on Instagram and Twitter at every opportunity, was followed and commented on by those who lived vicariously through the actions of famous people. These days, there's even a term for it on Wikipedia. It's described as celebrity worship syndrome or celebrity obsession disorder, referring to people who become obsessed with the details of the celebrity's personal and professional life. In many ways, AKA and Anele reflected an age in which we've become salaciously preoccupied with other people's lives, an age of rampant social media and narcissistic proclamations. Theirs was a twisted, devastatingly passionate love story fueled by obsession and alleged substance abuse. It was hugely public and fatally preoccupied with its own self-importance. And in the end, it was brutal in its repercussions. In Shakespeare's play, the two young lovers die entwined in a tomb after Romeo takes poison, thinking Juliet is dead, and Juliet, on seeing her dead lover, stabs herself. But AKA and Anele's story came to an even more brutal end. Anele died after falling or being pushed from a 10-story building, while AKA was killed by a pew-pew that many believed was fired to avenge her death. What an intro, right? And then, funny, reading this again, I say to myself, they both died horrific deaths. So horrific. One plunged 10 stories down. Ooh, I just realized that they both died on the streets. They really literally died on the street, on the pavement. AKA died on the pavement. And his death was leaked and shared widely online, and we see the very, very slim, others say he had hips, just casually walking, like just casually walking, you know, like the casual walk. That's how comfortable this person was. And I think they're saying the state is alleging that it's accused number 2, while others are alleging that no, it's a Mgulukudu over there in Eswatini. And sadly or unfortunately, you know, the law is a breathing thing. It's a living and breathing thing. It adapts to whatever conditions it has. So instead of having 7 people seated in the dock, they have 5, and then the other 2 are still trying not to get there. Okay. So and they have decided that they're going to proceed with trial without the 2. Like, they're not going to wait for them, because what if those extraditions take another 5 years? That means these guys will be waiting in prison 5 years plus. So they have decided to go right ahead and continue, okay, to continue all the way without them. Now, I was still saying that the shooter, just wearing a white hat, casually walked, and I think it was a Range Rover that was parked there. He just casually walked. AKA and Tibz are standing on the pavement. They hug each other as if they knew this was their final moment. They hug each other to say goodbye. And that is when the shot was taken. Right there. Shot was taken to his head. AKA falls to his death. AKA falls to his death. And Tibz runs inside, but he doesn't survive. He does not survive. And then, you know, everybody else scatters. It's just a lot. Everyone scattered. There's a movement. Even, you know, just the people who were just sitting and eating on the tables that were outside right there, they also scattered. Everybody scattered. Everybody. Except Mgulukudu, accused number 5. I think it's accused number 5. I'm going to, you know, go through my notes and just make sure I remember 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, whose role. But number 4, I remember his role. Okay, I remember number 4's role. I remember that his wife is a doctor, if I remember correctly. And I think he also has a second wife who was pregnant at the time of his arrest. Yeah, so let me know if you guys want me to do a full recap on all the Mgulukudus, okay, the alleged Mgulukudus in the AKA and Tibz trial. It's such a sad story, such a sad story. And you know, you can have all the money in the world. You can have all the wealth in the world. You can have all the influence in the world. You can have all the Instagram followers in the world. But tomorrow is not promised to you. Isn't that sad? That is absolutely super sad. AKA at the time of his passing was a verified Instagram user with over 3.3 million followers. But he dropped to the ground like an insect. May his soul rest in peace, and may also justice be served for him, because nobody deserves to be taken out, no matter what nobody deserves to be taken out, no matter what the motive is. Somebody said, taking the words out of Judge Nathan's courtroom, somebody commodified Nathan, put a mark. Should I say Nathan? Somebody commodified, AKA, put a mark on his head, put a price, set up a Mgulukudu team. They hired the vehicles. They set up a strategy. They placed themselves all around. And then all of a sudden, a life is gone. Money is exchanged. 2 of them head all the way over to Eswatini. And then they're claiming that, you know, the police want to finish us. We don't feel so safe there. They went to our mother and they told my mother that if they showed my mother where they were going to bury us. Like, sometimes, you know, the police, they be the real Mgulukudus in all this, but allegedly, because what can you do if a Mgulukudu is telling you a story? On a side note, in the Josh and Smith case, there was the trial within a trial. And then accused number 1, Buddha said he was, I'm currently doing a mini series on that. he said, and I always want to give somebody grace when, he's claiming he was tortured into writing those confessions. Buta is tall, okay? He's a very, very tall guy. And he says they made him he's lying on the ground, they made him put his legs up, and then they put a pole by his knees, and then they lifted him up. During the entire trial, I just could not visualize it. And then someone in the comment section today said, I still can't understand what he's talking about when he says, when he describes that scene. And I said, imagine a kitchen towel on the washing line, how you hang it halfway down. That's what he's saying. Half his torso is on one side of the pole, the other half his legs are hanging there. And I said to myself, wait a damn minute. Wait a damn minute. If that's what they made you do, why is your first complaint not, I was hanging, my lord? And because you have to support yourself. You have to support yourself from hanging. So his knees and his calves, he should be saying, the pain that I felt because I was trying to hold on for dear life. He doesn't say that. He doesn't describe that. And then the other thing is, Buta, you're so tall. You're probably 6'5". You're so tall. How did you hang from a chair? Because you're way taller than that. And then they made you swing her. So it's so funny that going back and looking at evidence from a different set of eyes, that you kind of like, that doesn't make sense. And then he says they beat him up so bad. They beat him up so bad on his back. He was lying on the floor. They beat him up so bad. And I said, you shouldn't even be able to walk. Your spine should have been dislocated by the description that he's giving. So let me know your thoughts on the AKA trial. Do you think the police have the right accused in the dock? Are these the right people? Have they done the investigation to the best of their ability? Or are we going to sit here and find out just how crazy it is that the police are not investigating yet again? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Oh my goodness, I did not say hi to the replay gang in this video. So if you're watching during the replay, make sure as well you hit that two. Make sure you hit that 2 in the comment section so that I know you're watching in the replay. And I, of course, will be right there to say hi to you too as well. So that is the story of AKA and Ndimande. And the unfortunate passing of their death. Now, what exactly happened today? What exactly happened today? Ooh, let's catch up. So I'm just going to pull up an article. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this information up. Sometimes I wish I had an assistant, especially today. Going through I have so many notes, and I'm like, at the same time, I'm so proud of myself. Like, wow, look at these notes. These are so detailed. But I'm like, why were you mixing up cases? On the one hand, there's literally one where it's on one page, I have Jocelyn Smith. And then the next page is AKA. And then from there is Senzo Mayo. It's like, whoa. So now it's like, I need to separate out all these, and each one has its own separate folder, so that when I'm on a certain trial, I'm looking in the right file. So give me a second. I'm just opening this up. I forgot to bring something to drink. So you guys just going to have dry voice for the whole live. There we go. So let's go ahead. Where is the article that I want to read? I have my go-to. Ooh, look at that. See? Thank you. How do you do that? How do you do this? I'm clicking on it, so it's bright yellow on my screen, and I'm like, wait, there's no running emoji. How come this one doesn't have an emoji? But I want to say thank you so much. TD says, I am extending grace to SAPS this time. They brought the right Mgulukudus. I know, right? So if you work for the SAPS, especially this week, first and foremost, I want to say a rest in peace to Constable Senoge. She was laid to rest today. Let me tell you something. I watched her memorial service, their memorial service, because they had a joint memorial service. And one of her co-workers came up. I did a video on my other channel. Make sure you go watch it. One of her co-workers came up and he described their working relationship. Guys, it's such a beautiful thing when you have a great working environment, because you spend more days at work. You spend more days at work than you do at home with your family and loved ones. So it's such a beautiful thing when someone can attest to just the type of person you are. And they said that she was just an adorable person. She was always happy, and they learned about happiness through her. And this week on the 5th was supposed to be her birthday. And unfortunately, she died. And she didn't just die, guys. She died such a tragic end to such a young life. And they worked in the cyber security. Did I say cybercrime? Cyber security department. And it's like, they were just young geniuses. Cybersecurity is not child's play. It's it's a big deal. Okay. And not only is it a big deal, it's something that a lot of industries, it's a job that's in demand. Okay. Financial institutions, they need the cybersecurity gang, because Mgulukudus are multiplying, okay, with the scams and everything. So cybersecurity is you have to be like sharp, highly intelligent, highly analytical. Think of Tibz. Okay, think of Tibz. I'm not saying he's in cybersecurity, but you have to be highly analytical. And they were just in the prime of their career, and they were going back to work. That's the thing. They passed away while going back to work. So from the time of departure to the time of the ending up in the river, it's just something happened. Something happened, and we need to know what happened. And the families most definitely need to know what happened. So going back to what Tidi says, she says she is extending grace to SAPS this time around because they've brought the right Mgulukudus. And I think it's a good thing that we extend grace. I always start on that leg. I never start with, the SAPS are the bad people. The SAPS, they don't investigate. It's when the SAPS take the stand where we start to get concerned. I mean, currently in the Mzansi trial, we have, a very, very well decorated, I want to say educated, because allegedly he's studying his LLB. So if you're studying your LLB, it means if a question is asked, you are very familiar with the skill of answering the question. But then it feels like a cat and mouse game. We're getting thesis out of it, and then I was thinking about it as well. I was like, do we really want the Mzansi trial to resume? Because it resumes with Brigadier Bongani Nicholas Gininda on the stand, and we've had such a break from him. But is he going to return a changed man? Remember, the last time he spoke was with Advocate Umshololo after the passing of Advocate Ngomezulu. And at that time, everything had to come to a screeching halt. But technically, it should have been Advocate Ngomezulu coming back into the court and cross-examining Brigadier Gininda. And there was going to be a show, okay? There was going to be fireworks. Answers were going to come out of there. If you think what was going on between Brigadier Gininda and Umnisi Wemvula was fire, no. It was going to be fire, okay? Fire between Gininda and Ngomezulu. And I believe that was too much. It was going to be too much. And God said, not with my Ngomezulu. No. Not with my Ngomezulu. We're not going to do that. Okay, we're not going to do that. So Mzansi trial resumes on the 19th. Okay, Mzansi trial will be resuming on the 19th of May. Somebody said, I can't wait for Monday. And I said, oh, you're going to be so disappointed. It's not this Monday. It's the other Monday. Okay. 4 likes are missing here. Please help. Who are the 5 Mgulukudus? Yeah, right here we call you if you are watching and you have not subscribed. And I always say I'll do this. I always say I'll figure this out on the TV. Guys, I don't watch TV. But somebody said to me, someone left a comment yesterday and said, today is my very first time commenting. I watch you every day, but I watch you from the TV. So I want to believe there's a like feature on the TV as well. So shout out to our TV watching gang, who are watching over there on their 85 inches because they don't want to be watching on their tiny little phones. Shout out to you. I love you too. Thank you so much. Actually, YouTube does tell me. So when I got that comment, I said, you know what? I don't really pay attention to that. But YouTube actually does tell me how many people are watching from TV. 61% of you are watching from your devices, your mobile device. That's huge. So thank you so much. And then 30% are watching on TV. That number shocked me. That number shocked me. I was like, whoa. That number shocked me. Let me tell you a funny story. I was visiting, and then in my guest bedroom, I had a TV that was connected to, I could watch YouTube on the TV. It was a smart TV. So, and then my host is like, yeah, no. So I'm watching per usual on my iPad or my phone. Those are my 2 go-to devices, no matter what. One, I'm the one who's logged in. 2, it just, the algorithm, it knows what you like. It works. Okay. I love it. So now I'm in this guest bedroom, and then it's like, no, don't, why do that to yourself? Go ahead and watch the TV. And I'm like, no. And then my host insists, and I'm like, no, my host insists. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a back and forth battle. Fine. Let me watch it on the TV. I watch it on the TV. I turn on the TV. TV doesn't know who I am. Okay. The TV is like, whatever. And then I have to search. It's just so much admin. Okay. And then I search, finally get what I need. I'm watching. But guess what? If you stop in the middle, it's not like a device where you can continue on your phone. But anyway, granted, those who are watching on their TVs might be also logged in on their phones, right? So the ecosystem is great. But for me, I was not logged in because one thing about me, I'm not logging in on other people's devices. Could never be me. So yeah, so I didn't enjoy that experience because I lost track of where I was. And then I got distracted with all the other suggestions, and then I got to, start watching other vlogs and. But yeah, TV is great. I mean, you're watching it out there, big, huge, lovely, high definition, 4K, don't 5.8% of you are watching on your computer. And let me tell you, I'm not judging you because I know you're watching at work. Shout out to the working watching gang. I love you too. And then there's 2% who are watching on tablets. Okay, that's interesting because I'm definitely tablet and mobile device. So just a little behind the scenes for you guys. I see you, okay? I see you, TV watching gang. I know YouTube is such an interesting platform. Tells us everything. Gender, location, age. Don't think we don't know. That time I might be saying, AKA shared a lot of his life online. That's why at the time of his passing, people knew, like, he wasn't with his girlfriend at the time, Nadia Nakai. I think she was in Joburg. And, this was announced online. It was probably like, I don't know, 3 a.m. I'm just throwing out a timeline. I don't remember the exact time. Give me a second. I got to clear my throat. Excuse me. So he didn't want, Nadia Nakai was out with her friends, and this was announced literally. This is one thing I hate about social media. I hate when people want to announce, not announce, but kind of, you're not the owner of the pregnancy, but you're the one who wants to shout it on rooftops that Mang Mang is pregnant, when that person hasn't done that announcement. That's one. Two, when people want to announce deaths online before the family has been notified. So remember, this was in the middle of the night, but it was already making its round. I remember hearing it, okay, and thinking to myself, nah, because I saw AKA's statuses and I thought, why would people say something like that? That's not nice. That's just awful. Only to go back and see, wait a minute. You know, AKA posted a lot. AKA's last post was hours ago. Like literally hours ago. And then, you know, the police made their announcement and the street was closed off, and the Mgulukudus probably thought, we did it, guys. And they went about their lives. They got their payouts. They returned the car, dumped the other car. And then I think it's accused number two, Mgulukudu number two, who is the one who was organizing the firearms. Like, for me, it is such a surreal lifestyle being an Inkabi. Like, you're just walking across the street knowing you're about to end someone's life, and you do it with no regard. You hit that one shot, you take a move, you head back into the darkness, and thankfully for the CCTV footage, because there's no eyewitnesses. There's no well, the case hasn't, you know, been ventilated in the court, but this one is going to be a very, very interesting one. Is it going to be short and sweet? I don't think so. I think it's going to drag out. I think there's going to be a lot. I think there's going to be so many days of 205 section 205 bank records. It's going to be a very, very long, winding trial. But ultimately, in the end, as Tidi said, we're going to give, you know, SAPS grace until the wheels fall off. Okay, until the wheels fall off. And when the wheels fall off, we'll be right there with our steak knives. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Okay, don't embarrass us. You know, we started off giving you grace, celebrating you, the men and women in blue. And then on a side note, for example, today, no, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it because, you know, I don't have money for legal to be called into court for saying things online. Okay, I don't have that kind of money. So Durban High Court gets ready to dig deeper into the AKA and Tibz murder trial. AKA Tibz murder accused appoint former prosecution's boss as their lawyer. What? That's an interesting. Okay, so let's get into that one. Who is this lawyer? And why is it breaking news? Why is it going so deep and dark? Let's read the witness. Let me just set myself up well so I can read this. And my audio is good. Give me one quick second. My goodness, I have so many notes. See, I have 3 folders I've got to move. I'm going to move this up here. And then I can have my mic and read at the same time. And you know what we do over here. It's Funda Togo Funda. Go ahead, type that in the comment section, okay? Because I'm about to Funda right here. This article is by The Witness. That's quite ironic. But yeah, The Witness. KZN says former top prosecutor takes over full defense in AKA Tibz murder case. Advocate Cyril Mlochwa will now represent all 5 accused in the AKA and Tibz murder trial. Why did you guys tell me this? Why did you let me say this is going to take forever? And so cross-examination is just going to be one? No. How is he going to do it? If you're representing 5 and you're cross-examining, woo, that's going to be interesting. Okay. Let's go. The 5 men, we have the 5 men arrested for their alleged involvement in the double murder of Kinan, aka Forbes, and Tibelo Tibz Motswane are Lindobuhle Tabani Mkwananzi. He's 30 years old, or was 30 years old at the time of his arrest. That is the guy who's always accused number 1, who had a scar on his head. I imagine, something situationship happened in the court. They never talked about it. Or are they going to come and tell us trial within a trial? I was abused. I was tortured. I was assaulted by the police. We'll wait and see. And then we have Ulindani Zenzele Ndimande, 35 years old. He is the big brother, okay, to the two Mgulukudus on the other side. Ulindani Zenzele Ndimande, he's not a stranger to the court. He's also not a stranger to the law. He was arrested for some of the Ndondoni situations. He was out. And then he just had to be involved over here. Oh, I was calling him accused number 2. No, it's accused number 3. Accused number 3 is the one who is allegedly the power. But his lawyer at the time, now that they've changed lawyer, his lawyer at the time said he was in hospital. He was in hospital. So that's going to be interesting to see how the state, because that was his bail application, that was his defense, that I was in hospital. Boitumelo is here with a like, just the way I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, Togo is doing her reading. Sianda Nyeza is accused number 3. The 21-year-old Mgulukudu. Can you see? They now make them so young. And then we have number 4, accused number 4, Mgulukudu, alleged Mgulukudu, Mziwetemba Harvey Gwabeni. Okay, the one who has business dealings, consultation dealings, guys. There's nothing wrong with having consultations, but it just happens to be with the Taba brothers. Okay, well, at least one of them. For me, that was a huge red flag, huge duvet, because the court mentioned the Taba brothers, and then the older brother wrote the statement, not the one mentioned in court. And it's like, why is the brother speaking on behalf of his brother? Is he going to take the stand as well and speak on his behalf? Is he going to provide his fingerprints on behalf of his brother? But you know what? It's the Taba brothers. I don't want to say too much. Let's keep going. And then accused number 4 is Ulindo Guhle. Lindo Ndimande. I actually love his name. Okay. Shout out to all the Lindos out there. So the article goes on and says, former NPA director and KZN advocate Simpiwe Mlotshwa will now represent all the accused in the K9. Why did I say that? I'm sorry. K9, aka Forbes, and Utibelo Tibz Motswane murder case, including those facing her. Woo! He's like a full package deal. He's like everybody in the bus with me, okay? I'm a one-man show. I work with absolutely nobody else. I'm going to represent you all, and all of you are going to walk the streets of KZN one day. Don't worry about it. Just fire everybody else. I am taking over because I'm the best of the best. And they said, say no more. We're putting all our money in a pot. Woo! And as I say that, Dorcas, thank you for funding my reading addiction. What to say? Then they all said, yes, we as Mgulukudus were all putting all our money in the pot, and it is going to advocate Simpiwe Mlotshwa. Let me know if you want me to do a full video, okay? Mlambo Designs is here. She's probably picked up all her kids, done her groceries, fed her family, gone to work, and we are here, aka and Tibz. Try hi, Mlambo, welcome, welcome, welcome. So let me know if you guys want me to do a full video on Advocate Simpiwe Mlodra. Who is he, and what is going on? And he's a former NPA director. Okay, he's a boss. Okay, he's up there inside Pagati within. You guys know as well that Advocate Charles Nisi was inside Pagati, the prosecution team. You guys know that, right? Okay, cool. We're good. We all know that. And then he left, okay, and said, no, I want to become a criminal defense attorney. What could he have been motivated by the injustices of the NPA? I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know. One day we'll interview Advocate Mnisi Wemvula. Definitely after the case. I don't see him saying yes before that. So make sure you drop a 3 if you guys would love that. Mlocha was already representing 2 of the accused. The matter now transferred to the High Court, returns on Thursday today for a pre-trial conference following the indictment of the accused in February. AKA and Tibz were gunned down outside the popular Durban restaurant Wish on February 10, 2023. And I want to think that that restaurant has closed down, sadly. The 5 men, I've already told you their names, were arrested in February 2024. I remember how their arrests were done. Okay, their arrests were Mgulukudu disguised in other arrests. We're going to arrest you for this, but we're really taking you in because we want to keep you inside Pagati, close within, for the AKA trial. And we're not going to tell you. We'll only tell you later on. And then, they finally had to tell them because someone over there in Eswatini broke it down. And then also they made a brief appearance at the Durban High Court on Thursday for the pre-trial. The matter was postponed to June 12th. That is in, let's see, it's not too far. It's not too bad. Oh, it's in 6 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's in 5 weeks. That's not too bad. So the matter was postponed to June 12th after the state prosecutor advocate Lawrence Gaba, I like him, Advocate Lawrence Gaba informed the court that the defense attorney was in Eswatini handling the extradition proceedings of the other 2. Do you see the gameplay right there? Do you see the gameplay? Drop it 4 if you see what is going to be happening a lot in this case. It's called One for All and All for One. I'm trying to remember. When it's the 3, is it the 3 Musketeers? Anyway, whatever. It's a show I used to watch as a kid. All for One and One for All. Yeah, he is not playing games, okay? So he said, this is the strategy. This is my interpretation, just in reading that one sentence. Court had to adjourn today because, hello, my lord, the defense attorney is not here. As you know, everybody is represented by him. We can't proceed because they have no legal representation. Why is he not here? I imagine if it was Judge Rata, he would have been throwing his hands up and down. How dare he not be in court? Well, my lord, he's in Eswatini because the other 2 who are also in this indictment on the charge sheet, they are still in Eswatini, my lord. We still haven't extradited them back to the Republic of South Africa because they're playing games, okay? They're playing games. And now they've taken the case over to, if it's going to go to the Supreme Court because they are appealing, being extradited. Can you believe it? They do not want to come back home. But yeah, so, everybody has one lawyer. So he's not here. Sucks to be us. So the case was adjourned. That's literally what happened. The matter was postponed to June 12th. 12th June. Why does it say June 12th? 12th June, after the state prosecutor advocate Lawrence Gaba informed the court that the defense attorney was in Eswatini handling the extradition proceedings of 2 other accused, Usiyabonga and Umalusi Ndimande. The group faces several charges, including conspiracy to commit murder, 2 counts of murder, unlawful possession of a firearm, unlawful possession of firearms, and 5 counts of attempted murder. Now, you guys, I can tell we've been on this journey for a long time. What schedule if case is this? I'm going to read those. The group faces several charges, including conspiracy to commit murder, 2 counts of murder, unlawful possession of a firearm, unlawful possession of ammunition, and 5 counts of attempted murder. What schedule case is this? Drop the answer in the comment section down below. And you know what? I wish that us as creators, we can also give you guys super thanks. And I'm actually having a genius moment there. And I think I need to bring that up because I also would love to gift you guys. I really would. 3 of you guys, 3 of my subscribers, one of them is in the room. I have sent you packages in the mail from another live. I think it was from our last live that we did before I started these lives. I did send out 3 packages from my travels. And then Donnie's, I've been tracking those packages, so I know you haven't got them yet, but I'm tracking them, okay? Just stay tuned. You know yourselves. So I would love to gift you guys as well, because you guys supporting the channel, watching, viewing, Donnie's, it means the world to me. And I think we have to tell YouTube that creators need to have a way to gift our subscribers. YouTube will never allow us to have your email address. Like, that's never going to happen. But that would be so interesting. And I don't think any platform does that. But I would love that, because it would allow us, to do I can see why they don't do it. Maybe because of laws, country laws around. It's kind of like gambling. So maybe that's why they don't allow it. But guess what I have? I have a YouTube manager, and I can just slide that in there. Like, we need a way. I was actually in a meeting yesterday, and we were giving feedback. What were we talking about yesterday? Yesterday's meeting was really busy. But I think I can go back and say, listen, we want the ability to gift our subscribers. I would really love that. So you guys don't know what schedule. It's a Schedule 6 offense that these guys are facing. Waitumelo, yes, City, I was busy with Judge Nathan Ndim, okay, in a normal court for a change. It felt like a breath of fresh air. Let me tell you something. Thank you for bringing up Judge Nathan, okay? If you don't already know, I love him to bits, okay? And if you don't know who Judge Ndim is, if you don't know who Judge Nathan is, why haven't you been watching my channel? That's what that tells me. If you don't know who that is, why haven't you been watching this channel? Judge Nathan is the honorable, okay, judge. Okay, he's the honorable my lord in the Western Cape. He runs the courtroom. Like, he's the definition of fair, unbiased, towards state defense accused. He was adorable, even to Rands, okay? He was just, and he relates with them. He goes to their level. He made a drug addict feel like a princess. And I'm not saying you shouldn't make them feel like a princess. For me, one sentence I took away from Judge Nathan is that substance abuse is an illness. And, it's an illness. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to be graceful. I'm not going to be judgmental. I'm going to listen and find out what those Mgulukudus did after they took their substances, the tick substance that sounds like TikTok, and then the button substance. Like, why do the substances have these names? But then they took the substances, and then in their substance-induced state, someone somewhere, the biological mother said, today is a good day for me to be the shining Mgulukudu here. I'm going to sell my daughter. That's just disgusting. But it is what it is. It's done, because Jocelyn hasn't reappeared and said, what do you mean? I was kidnapped. What do you mean? I was trafficked. I was just here living with X, Y, and Z. And no, I really, guys, I really, 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 really hope that wherever she is, she's happy, she's thriving, she's in a loving environment, because she did not live with people who loved her. Fact, that's a fact. I mean, what's his name? Buddha, Kelly's boyfriend, can't even call her by name. He calls her the child. Can you imagine? Think about it. Think about living with a man in your house and he's a Mgulukudu and he calls your child the child when your child has a whole birth certificate. So I always pray that wherever Jocelyn is, she's in a better place, in a better place, and that her mother isn't thinking of fame, and that tomorrow they're back in court. There is no Jocelyn Smith. She's not back. She's not back to talk for herself. But one thing remains clear, she's not there. Like, nobody is saying she's not kidnapped. Because if she suddenly shows up and says, no, I wasn't kidnapped, I went for a walk, it just lasted me, a couple of months, but I'm back, and will the 3 accused be let go? That would be interesting. But unfortunately, kusemhlabeni lapha, and she's not here. She's not here. She's a 6-year-old child at the time of her disappearance. She was a 6-year-old child at the time of her disappearance. 6-year-old children are not out on their own. Anyway, somebody has her. I always pray that there is no sexual exploitation. I hate to think of it, but they're very, very evil people in this world. We see it with the Twek case. Like, the Twek case, I didn't talk much about it. Just like I can't talk about the emoji judge. Yeah, that's what we're going to call him. Judge emojis. Judge emojis, I'm going to forever look at you sideways, because what do you mean you were using fruits and vegetables in your messages to you see, because it's sexual in nature, I don't want to say things that are going to be offensive to other people. I don't want to say things that are judgmental to people's choices behind closed doors in their own bedrooms, because I don't want nobody judging me either, okay? So I kind of stayed away from that. But the thing with the Twek case, when they said it, when the mother said, and I apologize, this is going to be very graphic. When the mother said the backside, when she looked, was the size of a toilet paper roll, I was like, what? I was broken. I was heartbroken, and I couldn't talk about that case. I couldn't talk about it. Not because, I didn't want justice for her. I could not talk about a child and then talk about that in the same sentence. It just doesn't come out of my mouth. It just doesn't flow. It just doesn't make sense. But what it just highlights is just how much evil is present in the world. So please make sure before you go to bed, put out those prayers for young children who are in homes where they can't speak up, young children who are experiencing exploitation, young children who, in Judge Nathan's words, I learned this from Judge Nathan, okay? Jocelyn's freedom of movement and liberty was inhibited by the 3 accused. So I still want to study that further to get a deeper understanding, because what do you mean freedom and movement? Like, where's the child supposed to go? She goes wherever the mother says, or, she's under the care of the parents. But long story short with that, I'm digressing, okay? So let me see what the comments have to say. You see, I have a mouthful to say about Judge Ndim. Who am I blaming for this digression? Huh? Who took us there? But that is all good. That is all good. This is one case I never took interest in. I don't know why. The AKA case. Maybe if you did not follow, the AKA case was popular because of AKA as an artist. And then for some, it was popular because of how his fiance died before his death. And then for others, it's just the interest in the case in itself. They might not have known AKA. So it depends on what sphere you're in. I knew AKA before his passing. Like, I didn't just pick up the case. I followed him while he was alive. So that's how I can tell his stories with my eyes closed, because his last stories on that day, because I actually saw them. Tibz says, longest time indeed. I love it when my family is a family in the comment section. I love it. I love it so much. It shows we're a family. Do you guys go out to parties without me? Do you guys go? You do. I've seen you in the comment sections in other parties. But I love it. Okay. I love it so much. Thank you, Tidi and Dorcas. God bless these pockets more and more. Yes, I love that. Look at that. My feelers coming in, sharing blessings. Yes, I agree. Thank you for that. Guys, did I forget to put the link in the comments? Oh, we're about to close out. So you guys didn't remind me to put the link. Why didn't you remind me to put the link so that we have our callers coming up? Oh, but we'll do it next time. Yes, TD, I was busy with Judge Nathan in a normal court for a change. It was such a breath of fresh air, you know, watching a court case from start to finish, from morning to afternoon. From morning, we take Judge Dim is not about the lunch breaks. Okay, one thing about Judge Dim, and I'm looking at him sideways for that, because I'm one person, but you know what? They all agreed. He never just abruptly told them. He would always say, I know you guys didn't have, you guys are expecting your lunch. I don't know what time your lunch is coming. Accused 1, 2, and 3. Are you okay if we just do long breaks? Are you okay if we do this? He would always check in on them. And they would always say yes. What you going to say? No, I want my long lunch break. Who's going to sit in that court? Who really is going to? Maybe Mgabai of Mgabai Associates, you know? And I've been so hard on Mgabai of Mgabai Associates, but in the P. Diddy trial, Diddy has a new lawyer, okay, a Black woman. Shout out to our Black sisters. And she also introduces herself as, why am I not remembering her name now? Anyway, she also does the same thing like Mgabai. So, you know what? It is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. Mgabai of Mgabai Associate. Mgabai will forever be remembered for that, because it's like, ma'am, we know who you are and we know who you're representing. Why do you tell us every time before you speak? Voitumela says he even noticed the women who were always praying outside the court. He did. He really did. Like, he's that man who notices things with the corner of his eyes. And I'm sure he also said prayers for them. And he just doesn't acknowledge you. And you're thinking he doesn't see me. That time you're jumping up and down and he's not acknowledging you. And I love his last day of court last week, where he began by acknowledging everyone. Everyone. I loved it. It was beautiful to watch. Do you think Judge Rata will do that one day? I wonder. The other day I was thinking about it alone, and I said, you know, Judge Rata was a certain type of way when it was around Rose. He would call her, he would click his fingers, which for me is absolutely disgusting. He's never done that with Ashley. Has anybody else noticed that? Could it be that he sees women as less than? I don't know. I'm just saying that's something I observed. Has anybody else noticed that he does not do this to Ashley at all, ever? In fact, he says, Ashley, come here. Tell them you saw Advocate Ngomezulu in the court premises. Tell them. And Ashley said, I'm not going to take an oath and say that. That was between me and you. Now you're putting me on the spot. And the world now knows I am the one who told you that Ngomezulu was here. That time Ngomezulu was taking his last breath. Shame on you. I'll forever say that with no shame. Dorcas says, can't wait to see the honorable, brilliant, and smart Judge Nathan Erasmus tomorrow. I salute him. That is such a beautiful comment. I believe that, this is how, judges should be addressed. I feel so bad sometimes when I see some of the comments about Judge Rata, but are those comments warranted? Are those comments misplaced? You're on live TV. You can at least pretend to be a nice guy for 8 hours in a day. Or not. Dorcas also says, oh, Judge Ndim, Utandwa Ndim. Oh, and me too. Okay, and me too. Then we also have, Waitumela says, I pray she is with good, loving family. I imagine at her age, she's going through a lot like South Africa. I pray so too. That would be an answered prayer. Judge Yogwa, huh? I don't understand. Next comment. Born and grew up in the Western Cape, Judge Ndim. I love him to bits. Wish I can be his student one day. Yay! Oh, shout out. You are in the Western Cape. Yeah, I think he's representing Western Cape so well. I hope he makes it to JP. Like, listen, I'll be right there saying, yes, okay, put him as the JP, because the other JPs, they're misbehaving, okay? They're using emojis. Imagine if Judge Ndim was in an emoji case. It wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense. But if you carry yourself a certain way all the time, it means even behind the scenes, you've got to be the same way. So if you carry yourself a certain way in public, throwing your hands up and down, it means it must be super worse behind closed doors. Woo! That's my opinion. And no one has actually come out in the comments. Someone in the comment section also said, I went to school with him. There's always a lot of people like kind of backing up his character. Judge Ndim, for me, is the face of Ubuntu amongst judges, amongst cases that I've seen so far. And I commend him for that. Congratulations to him for that. Congratulations to him for showing us that it's actually possible and that we're not crazy when we ask of other judges to just show some grace sometimes. I wonder if, Advocate Ngomezulu was in Judge Ndim's courtroom, how that would have happened. Sometimes when you're not feeling well, your condition deteriorates because of your environment. And if you're in such a hostile working environment, such a high pressure job, can you really get well soon? But by the way, Judge Nathan also told us, okay, that he has an underlying condition. Okay, that's why he's always coughing and his cough never goes away. And it's like, oh no, because that cough was long ending. Several times he had to put on a mask, but he never once adjourned for his own self. Like, guys, we're going away for a month. I need to get better soon. No, he went through it all. I remember one day he said, let's adjourn for 15 minutes. I need to go outside. I need to go outside. No. Are you sure? You're distracting me, but I'll come to that comment. Okay, once Judge Nathan said, I need to go outside. I need to just breathe fresh air. Okay. And then he says, let's adjourn. And then they're all about to stand up and he's like, no, let's continue. It's like, wow. Okay. And he just put on his mask and continued because he was so dead on set on his own deadline. He himself could have moved the margin, but he didn't want to. He really wanted to meet his timelines, and shout out for him. He's one of those guys who, how Advocate Mnisi overpromised and under-delivered. Yes. Mnisi said, I'm going to be able to read this. And then, the reality hit and he wasn't able to finish. But guess what? Judge Ndim said, I'm giving a judgment. We're not going to go longer than such and such date. I think for him, unfortunately, there were just way too many holidays in April, way too many. But then I thought when he comes back on Friday, he's going to say, I didn't finish. He gave that judgment on Friday. Told us he wasn't going to type it up. I would love to read the typed up version. Advocate Ngabai had to submit her arguments. Judge Ndim told us that she submitted her arguments at 3 a.m. in the morning. If there's one thing about Judge Nathan, you're not going to walk in that courtroom and ask for an adjournment. Did you notice none of them ever asked for an adjournment? She submitted her arguments at 3 in the morning and woke up that day and gave her argument and said, Renz is a liar. Liar, liar, liar. But yeah. But then I'm judging Kabai and saying, wait, you were never prepared with your arguments the entire time. The judge kept telling you guys to get your arguments ready. It's not like you had a defense strategy. So you had so much time before. But it is what it is. And then Miss Aisha ends this live stream today. And she says, what does she say? Hold the line, hold the line. She says, the interpreter called these emojis Onkawana. Onkawana. Oh! I get it now. In isiXhosa. Poor interpreter. That's a tough one. But imagine, because over there in Judge Ndim's courtroom, so many mistakes were made by the interpreter. Wherever Mr. Blue. Why am I failing to say his name? The initial interpreter, he never returned. And I'm not laughing. The initial interpreter never returned, okay? The next interpreter came and, we were excited. We were finally going to follow the proceedings really well. Oh, he made some mistakes. And Judge Nathan just couldn't believe his luck. He was like from one to another. So he called him out. He said, this is the court record. It's not your job to argue with the witness. It's your job to say what the witness is saying. Okay? It is. We will talk to the witness if we have questions. Your job is just to interpret. That is it. That is all. Okay? Okay. They continue. Later on, he says, money instead of 200 rands. Oh, I think in that moment, Judge Ndim would have been warranted if he threw his hands up and down, but he didn't. He told him, you can't do that. This is the official court record. If someone reads this from 5 years from now, it can't be saying money when the witness said 200 rands. You better get your act together. Actually, can the female interpreter take the stand? Ooh, and she never got any problems. She was like a shining star from day one to finish. Unfortunately, she also had a cough, and that was sometimes she wouldn't be there. Sometimes she'd have to sit by Kelly and friends over there, the Three Musketeers, and translate for them. I don't even know. I think Kelly's sometimes sitting there like whatever. Like these people would never know. And then the house got burnt down. And then there's rumors that Kelly said, go burn down the house. It's done. Like, I'm still very angry at the people who burnt down the house. I'll say that every single time. Every single time. I'll give you an example. Nelson Mandela's home in Soweto is a historic site. Not that Kelly's home should be a historic site, but the case is not over. Jocelyn is not back. Why burn it down? I don't know. Maybe I'm a very sentimental person. And with that said, guys, I am bringing this live to an absolute end. Thank you so much for joining me. I know. I have my sons of Meiwa gang who are like, what's going on? What is she talking about? But I love that you guys are here following, supporting. Blow. Thank you, Tokas. Thank you. I love that you guys still follow along. And I believe that in our own individual communities, by following these individual stories, that we can make our communities a better place. For example, if you are exposed to people who use substances, from these cases, we get a better understanding of what substance abuse can do. We see it in the AKA case. There's substances there as well. With Anele and her passing and her family. Like, families are destroyed by substances. So, and if you have young ones or you have, I hope that you can support them or that they can make the right choices. Stay away from substances. Stay away from substances. Rands in the Jocelyn Smith case said she had been on substances. She dropped out of school, got on substances from a very, very, very early age. She was always on substances, and we heard how they all never had food. Okay, they all never had food, but surprise, surprise, guess what? They all always had substances. Like, there's no story that any of them told that said, man, we were sitting there just wondering, where can we get our next substances? We haven't had substances in a while. No, they were always on substances. And I'm going to judge them for that, because they always had their fix, but the children did not have food. And for that, I'm going to judge them. Instead, Jocelyn and the brothers' clothes were not clean because there was no there was no washing powder for the clothes, allegedly, according to Kelly. On some days she says that, on some days she says no, Jocelyn was sick. But if Jocelyn was sick, then why didn't Raquin go to school? Unless Raquin had to be Jocelyn's caregiver, because Buddha's not about that life. Do you see? There's so many untold stories in that family. And that's why I believe social workers have a part to play, and they should have also been charged, because they could have stopped this years ago. And with that said, good evening, Sugar. Sugar is here, but we are on our way out. I was just doing my closing. Thank you for joining. Make sure you catch the replay. Thank you to everybody. Thank you for following the story. And I'll catch you on our next upload. I always chew my words. I have to learn to talk slowly, but then that will drag out. So that is the end of today's video. You already know, if you've made it this far in the video, I absolutely love it for us. You absolutely have my heart, and I of course am indebted to the court. Thank you to everybody who financially supports the channel. It means the world to me. Thank you to everybody as well who supports the channel with the likes. Okay, that's a huge currency over here. Okay, it's a big currency. Make sure you exercise your rights. Okay, hit that like button before we close out on this live, and also as well go ahead and hit the subscription button if you're still watching from outside the club, so that the next live tomorrow you can join in and sit in the front of the class and chat with us. Okay, because I love to get to know you guys in the comments. Shout out to the TV watching gang. I love you guys. Okay, you guys are the VIP bougies. Okay, you're watching from the TV big screen. Done. One day you'll have Mzansi Unfiltered's face on your screens. I have a special project. I think I'm going to say it on the live because I can sneak it in here. I have a special project coming up. It's very dear to my heart. Please don't forget to support that as well. It's just going to be a one-day project. It's a one-day video. I'm going to do it once a year. Okay. Because you guys have elevated the channel and elevated the channel where it's mentioned, you know, in other rooms. I have this amazing opportunity, which is very, very dear to my heart. I'm going to post the video. I hope you guys will support it. Don't be saying, yeah, we're just watching because you said we should watch. Don't say that, okay? Because I'm being paid. Just support the channel. It's going to be a 15-minute video. You guys have watched 40-minute videos, so I know you can stomach 15 minutes. It's going to come up soon, maybe in 4 weeks, time. So not like tomorrow or next week, but I'll see how I can sneak it in, because I can't tell you to watch the video. Then they're going to be like, you're not make sure. Okay. So I'm putting this out here because I really want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to you guys live. These opportunities wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for people like you. I have another opportunity where YouTube said, can I have your passport? And I said, don't even ask. Okay, take it and tell me, you know that Julius Malema, they told him, no, okay, you are not going to the UK. Julius Malema, I'm looking at you sideways. What were you thinking? With all your track record on the internet, Where did you think you were going to the Queen's Land? I did a full video on that. Make sure you go watch my reaction. It's on my other channel, GNU Unfiltered. I actually enjoyed editing that video, so please go support that video. And what other class announcements do we have? That's it. I owe channel members a video. I'm going to post it tomorrow. It's actually ready. I don't even know why I hadn't posted it. It's actually ready. I'm going to post it. I promise you guys that. Bye. Love you so much. I will catch you on my next upload. See, I was digressing. I've got to end that illness. Bye.